Well, talking of standing, a school in Middlesbrough has been described as Victorian and regimented by a parent after making pupils stand up whenever a teacher enters the classroom.
The school's head teacher has defended the decision, saying it's about manners and getting the basics right. Michelle Morrison's been to another school which expects similar standards.
Regimented or respectful? At this London school, exceptionally high standards are expected when it comes to behaviour. Pupils must walk between classes in silence, sit with their arms folded and do this in assembly.
Stand for our headmistress.
So should parents and pupils be tight-lipped about teachers running a tight ship?
Be seated.
Personally, I believe we should stand for our headmistress because it shows we appreciate everything she has done to give us this school.
In my opinion, I think it's really important to stand up when our headmistress comes, as we're showing a level of respect to her.
But here on the outside, armed with the facts, are people as quick to defend it. How bad do the teachers' teaching skills have to be that in order to get the engagement and the recognition from their students, they have to make them stand up all together and sit down again?
For me, it screams discipline, which I don't think is necessarily a negative thing.
Well, we're joined by Catherine Burble-Singh, who is the head mistress of the school in that report, For Whom the Children Stand. She believes that making them do so is a great way of showing respect. Teacher and poet Christian Foley doesn't believe he should be put on a pedestal simply because he's a teacher. Very good morning to you both.
Morning.
So, Christian, I mean, I did it when I was in the class. It never occurred to me it was anything other than, I mean, it was actually quite annoying, it might have, you know, when you're a student. But it's a form of discipline, it's a form of respect. Why is it not, do you think, a good thing to instil in children those values?
Well, they're all great values. There are other ways to instil them than by standing up when a teacher enters the room.
So do those as well?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite disruptive. If you're a student, you're working, you've got to stand up. What if sometimes you've got about 5 TAs coming in and out, then it's just musical chairs, you're just up and down, you're not working. It's disruptive as a teacher. And also, like, yeah, I agree with respect and stuff, but I also don't want to be like this infallible person who is robotic and perfect. Like yesterday, I was teaching a class and then a phone went off in the lesson. I was like, oh dear, someone's in trouble. It was mine, and it was actually you calling me to come on this show. So I was like, I'm human as well.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I was like, oops.
Do you make those calls?
That's fine.
Yeah, I just point out it wasn't me personally calling you to come.
You're ringing me during school hours.
I'm very grateful you did.
I wonder, Catherine, I mean, it's an interesting point, though, because I can remember, like Susanna, we had to stand up when a teacher came in. But that's a great point that Christian makes, because actually, if another teacher came in, we didn't have teaching assistants back when I was at school, but we would have to stand up and you would be in the middle of... Is that something that you have at school as well? Is it any teacher that comes in?
Well, no. In fact, at our school, we've had over 2,000 visitors, actually, since we opened in 2014. So it means there are lots of people coming in and out of the classroom. So we don't actually have them stand coming in and out of the classroom. But I totally support head teachers who decide to do that in an environment which is more calm. What you saw there in the video was the children standing for me at assembly.
Right.
It's traditional. It's ritual. It doesn't mean that we're on a pedestal as teachers. It's a sign of respect. And it's also a ritual which enables them to behave in an honourable way. And I think that when you are able to have respect in that way and admiration for your teachers, doesn't mean you don't build relationships. It doesn't mean that the teachers don't love them. It certainly doesn't mean that you're robotic. I mean, when I Googled Christian yesterday and saw him rapping with his kids, I thought, gosh, I've got to employ this guy. I thought, you know. So we have fun with the kids. We love them. But there are just these elements of tradition. We sing God Save the Queen with the children in the morning at assemblies. And it's just a lovely opportunity.
Christian, do you do that? Show respect to the Queen every morning?
Yeah, no, we have a picture and we bow to that.
No, you don't.
Well, no, I mean, I checked out Catherine's school on the website, and it looks great. Like, it looks amazing. I would love to come and do a workshop at your school. But it's all about context, isn't it? It's about the context of Catherine's school, and what works there would not necessarily work in other schools.
Do you work in different types of schools or different parts?
I don't think so.
Well, in some ways we do, in some ways we don't.
You both at state secondaries?
Yeah, and they're both in a city. And
well, I work in a referral unit mainly, which is obviously different.
Oh, right.
I do work in state secondary.
Now, that's interesting. So you have some more challenging pupils.
Yeah, so I will have the children that, there's a school, I can't really name it, but it runs itself on very similar lines to your school. and it's in East London,
important.
where they walk silently down the corridor. They have very same kind of ethos. So I work with the children who used to go to that school and were there for a very short time, and they're quite damaged by that experience. And we find that their behaviour in the referral unit is much worse than other referrals we're having from schools which were more libertarian in their approach and less regulated.
So, Catherine, would you say that there are students that this doesn't suit, these strict regulations, that heavy discipline?
No, in fact, remember, it's all tied up in love. So it's really important. Like I said, it doesn't mean you're not building relationships with the children. In fact, when you have that order and structure, it gives them the safety to be able to express themselves and be able to be creative. I mean, I don't know what school you're talking about, so I don't know. But certainly at our school, if you were to come, you would see very happy children, joyful, who are enjoying life and who love the fact. What they do, what they say is, well, actually, it was a bit difficult when I first came and I had to learn the kind of rules, but now I love it because they are free from bullying, they're free from the oppression that sometimes can come from the peer pressure to behave out of sorts.
Yeah, and Christian, I'm not sure which school you're referring to, but I'm sure they would defend it on the basis that pupil behaviour can be very unruly, and if you're dealing with a lot of unruly kids, sometimes it can help to give them very strong structures, which they might lack in other parts of their lives.
It is a method. It's one of many methods.
And this is one of them, you know, standing up for the head.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, this debate does come down to love, because me and Catherine, we both work in an environment where love is very important, where we clearly both care for our children that we look after. We do it in different ways. That doesn't mean that either way is invalid. It's just different contexts where they work. I think the problem with debates is they become very polarised and people aren't willing to listen to the other side. I mean, this is quite polarised in a way because you're like Britain's strictest head teacher and I'm, what, a freestyle rapper. So it's... most of education happens in the middle of both of these things. Well, yeah, employ me, please.
I mean, I might be so strict, but at the same time, I want to employ you. So, you know...
Well, we look forward to seeing how that goes. That's a meeting of minds.
Thanks both very much indeed.
Catherine,
Lots more